How, with Starmer, neoliberalism signals its complete takeover of the remains of the British Empire. In the twilight of the British Empire, a subtle yet inexorable transformation has unfolded, one that has seen the once dominant liberal ideals of social welfare, democratic sovereignty, and equitable progress give way to the cold calculus of neoliberalism. This shift, which began to accelerate in the interwar period before World War II, has culminated in the election of Keir Starmer as Prime Minister in July 2024, a figure whose membership in the Trilateral Commission and policy decisions marked the final consolidation of neoliberal hegemony over what remains of Britain's global influence. Neoliberalism, characterized by privatization, deregulation, and the commodification of public assets, has not only eroded the social contract, but has also weaponized identity politics to maintain control. Nowhere is this more evident than in Starmer's handling of hostilities towards Muslims. He pays lip service to tolerance and inclusion, stoking divisions that portray him as overly sympathetic, while his actions, such as continuing arms sales to Israel amid allegations of genocide, reveal a disdain for the very communities he pretends to protect. This article traces the historical arc from liberalism's decline to neoliberalism's triumph, examining how Britain's assets were sold off, how elite networks like the Trilateral Commission facilitated this takeover, and how Starmer's regime represents its completion, all while exploiting anti-Muslim sentiments as a distraction. The roots of neoliberalism's ascendancy can be traced to the economic and ideological crises of the interwar years, when classical liberalism, rooted in free markets tempered by social reforms, began to falter under the weight of global depression and rising fascism. As early as the 1930s, thinkers like Friedrich Hayek and Ludwig von Mises, exiled from Europe and finding refuge in institutions such as the London School of Economics, laid the groundwork for a new economic orthodoxy that prioritized market fundamentalism over state intervention. This was not merely an academic exercise. It was a response to the perceived threats of socialism and Keynesian welfare states. The Pelerin Society, founded in 1947 by Hayek and others, became the intellectual cradle of neoliberalism, advocating for the rollback of government controls and the opening of economies to private capital. In Britain, the empire's decline after World War II provided fertile ground. The war had bankrupted the nation, forcing the sale of overseas assets and the acceptance of American loans under the Marshall Plan, which subtly imposed neoliberal strings, open markets, and reduced tariffs in exchange for aid. This marked the beginning of Britain's transformation from imperial power to neoliberal vassal, where national assets from utilities to colonies were gradually commodified and sold to the highest bidder. The post-war era accelerated this shift as liberalism's promises of social mobility and equality clashed with the realities of austerity and decolonization. Clement Attlee's Labour government, 1945 to 1951, attempted to salvage liberalism through the welfare state, the NHS, nationalization of key industries. But this was short-lived. By the 1970s, stagflation and the oil crisis exposed the limits of Keynesianism, paving the way for neoliberal reformers. Margaret Thatcher, elected in 1979, became the avatar of this transition. Drawing inspiration from Hayek and Milton Friedman, Her privatization spree, selling off British Telecom, British Gas, and British Airways, signaled that even core national assets were up for grabs. Thatcher's alliance with Ronald Reagan amplified this globally. Reagan's tax cuts and deregulation echoed Thatcher's policies, while both supported Augusto Pinochet's Chile as a neoliberal laboratory, where US-backed economists, the Chicago Boys, privatized pensions and utilities under a dictatorship. Reference number 5. Britain's empire remnants, the Commonwealth ties, financial hubs like the City of London, were repurposed as nodes in a global neoliberal network, where assets flowed to multinational corporations rather than serving the public good. This neoliberal wave was not accidental, but orchestrated through elite networks that transcended national borders. The Trilateral Commission, founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller, played a pivotal role, uniting leaders from North America, Europe, and Asia to promote free markets, deregulation, and global integration. Reference number 6. By the 1980s, the Commission had influenced policies that accelerated asset sales across the West. In Britain, Thatcher's deregulated financial sector turned London into a haven for global capital, while in the US, Reagan's savings and loans crisis led to taxpayer bailouts of private failures. Reference number 7. In the end of the Cold War in 1991, further entrenched neoliberalism. The Washington Consensus, promoted by the IMF and the World Bank, demanded privatization and austerity from debtor nations, effectively putting sovereign assets on the auction block. Reference number 8. Britain's North Sea oil, once a national treasure, was privatized, and public housing stock was sold off under Thatcher's right-to-buy scheme, creating a property bubble that benefited speculators. Reference number 9. Theresa May's tenure as Home Secretary from 2010 to 2016 and Prime Minister from 2016 to 2019 exemplified how neoliberalism intertwined with security state interests, further eroding public trust. May's Investigatory Powers Act 2016 expanded surveillance, ostensibly for national security, but aligning with neoliberal goals of controlling dissent amid austerity protests. Reference number 10. Her commissioning of an independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, IICSA, in 2014, following the Jimmy Savile scandal, was presented as a pursuit of justice. But the inquiry's multiple chair resignations and limited scope raised suspicions of containment rather than exposure. Reference number 11. May's close ties to the security apparatus overseeing MI5 and counterterrorism mirrored Starmer's own DPP role, where he collaborated with intelligence agencies on terrorism cases while failing to prosecute high-profile abusers like Savile. Reference number 12. This period saw Britain's assets further commodified, the sale of the Royal Mail in 2013, and NHS privatization through private finance initiatives, all while May's hostile environment policy flamed anti-immigrant sentiments, distracting from economic dispossession. Reference number 13. The election of Keir Starmer in July 2024 marks the neoliberal takeover's completion, transforming Britain's political landscape into a uniparty facade where Labour and Conservatives converge on market-driven policies. Starmer's membership in the Trilateral Commission from 2017 to 2020 is no coincidence. The organization, with its emphasis on transatlantic alliances and open economies, groomed him as a safe pair of hands for elite interests, reference number 14. His May 2025 UK-EU deal, granting access to 150 billion defense fund and easing trade barriers, exemplified this. Assets like fishing rights and military procurement are surrendered to supranational control, echoing neoliberal asset sales, reference number 15. Starmer's cabinet, including Morgan McSweeney as chief of staff, has been accused of hiding £740,000 in think tank donations, as revealed by Declassified UK and Min Press in 2025 allegations, suggesting a plot without precedent to install him and purge left-wing elements, reference number 16. McSweeney's Labour Together think tank, fined $14,250 by the Electoral Commission for undeclared funds, underscores how neoliberal capture operates through opaque financing, reference number 17. Starmer's handling of anti-Muslim hostilities is a masterclass in neoliberal distraction. By paying lip service to Muslim communities, condemning Islamophobia in speeches, while abstaining on Gaza ceasefire votes, he appears soft, flaming far-right rage over issues like grooming gangs and migration, reference number 18. Yet, his actions tell a different story. UK arms exports to Israel surged to £42 million in 2024, fueling what critics call genocide in Gaza, while RAF spy planes provide intelligence support, reference number 19. This duality divides the public. White nationalists see him as a Muslim protector, while pro-Palestinian groups decry his complicity. The grooming gangs inquiry he announced in June 2025, a U-turn amid Elon Musk's attacks, further stokes ethnic tensions, distracting from the elite cover-ups in scandals like Savile or Epstein. Historically, neoliberal regimes have allowed powerful abusers, royals like Mountbatten linked to Kincora, or MPs like Peter Morrison under Thatcher, to avoid justice, sealing files until 2065, reference number 21, protecting the system that now bombs innocents abroad for profit. Neoliberalism's triumph under Starmer signals the empire's final commodification. Britain's sovereignty, assets, and even social divisions are tools for elite control. To break free, the public must reject the manufactured hostilities and demand accountability beyond lip service. Thank you. I've been Farz-Zaad.